How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I am your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Today is an interesting topic. We still on the money topics. You're supposed to be talking about the truth about these business credit and how you guys can debunk the myths and stop making the mistakes that people have been making with trying to establish and maintain their business credit. Before I get started on the show, I want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe, join the membership, and recognize that we're here live 7 nights a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. We do tip off a little bit after the hour because we're dealing with an internet issue at the moment, but they are still working on those towers and they'll get them back up and going as soon as possible. Special shout out to those guys that are following us on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. TikTok is still banned in the US until Trump does something about it. So for those of you that are on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, as we're streaming, if you guys got some comments, make sure that you click the link in the comment section, approve the mic, approve the camera, and it'll bring you into the green room and we'll be able to have discussions, open forum discussion, straw man topics, whatever you got going on, as long as it's appropriate. You must be 18 years of age or older to get in on the podcast, or you can leave your comments in the comment section. Make sure that you support the podcast by throwing special likes, special thanks, donations to the podcast. Help the podcast get better at doing what it's doing. We're trying to tee up to that fiber optics that T-Mobile's got going on, and helping us out with the podcast helps us out with getting you better quality streaming, because that 2,000 megabytes per second is double the unlimited 5G. So, good looking out is for those of you that have been doing it. Special shout out to Bricko Mode for giving us a lot of love the other day. I want to give him definitely a shout out, him and his boy TB Flames. So out there, one more, Omni 81 and Red Void. So really appreciate you guys for showing us love on a regular basis. Special shout out to Brazil. I'm going to have that show for you guys next week. Special shout out to Romania. I'm going to have that show for you guys out next week as well. Plus the 3 topics that I talked about last night that we're going to bring up. Well, I didn't talk about them. Somebody asked me about them, so we're going to talk about them next week. So I'm going to get that lineup coming up later this week, maybe tomorrow, probably Thursday. You'll see the lineup up there, but it's in the works. Remember, we have a special guest coming up on Friday. Ken, he's a content writer. He's going to be talking about his freelance work and his sole proprietor businessship, and how you guys could get into the same kind of business that he is in the same way. We had Alan last week come up from Crestify talking about his business. I have not reached back out to Tom Owens for the how to preserve dividends and retire even in a barren market. But Mr. Owens should be coming up pretty soon. I just got to reach back out to him and remind him that he's due for a show. So we're going to have us a stock enthusiast come up onto the show coming up soon as we get that scheduled. So stay tuned. Again, you'll enjoy us 7 days a week. Now, let's go ahead and dive into this, the top things that could be tanking your business credit score, and see if you could turn your credit score around. Now, this is going to be a little bit in depth. By all means, chime in if you think that you know more about credit than what I have done research on. Not to mention all of the startup businesses I've already had my liberty of experiencing, and we can kind of debate the topics. But when it comes to running a successful business, having good credit score is crucial. It's what lenders, suppliers, and even partners use to gauge your company's credibility and reliability. A good business credit score can open doors to new opportunities, better interest rates, and even attract top talent. But on the other hand, a poor credit score can limit your growth, increase your costs, and even put your business at risk. So, what are the common factors that negatively impact business credit scores? Well, multiple late payments can be a major red flag, signaling to lenders that you're not reliable when it comes to paying back debt on time. High credit utilization is another one, which means you're consistently maxing out your credit cards or liens or lines of credit. And this can indicate to lenders that you're not able to manage your debt responsibly. Now, before I go even further, I just want to point out a couple of things here. Now, when it comes down to paying back your debts on time, you have 2 types of things that is paying your debts back on time: paying your monthly notes on or before they are due for revolving credit, or for those people that are in real estate that borrow money from investors, those people that report to the three major credit bureaus, paying off that contract on time. So if you have an 18-month installment plan and you're 24 months into that installment plan, regardless of the fact that they're going to give you more time to pay and they're going to probably charge you more interest rates for going over the contract of time, you did not pay back the debt on time. So there's two ways that that could negatively impact your business. You have business that are AAA rated businesses, AAA plus rated businesses, the ones that basically have the 100 credit score. One of the things that I've learned about credit scores with businesses is that it starts at 100 and goes down to 0, and there is no going backwards. It starts at 100 and goes down to 0. So each time that you get a hit against this credit score, it goes down. You go from being a AAA plus down to an A, go from A down to a triple B plus, down to a B, down to a triple C plus, down to a C, down to a D, down to an F. And that is how they gauge the value of your business. By the time you got to an F, you probably gone bankrupt anyway. But it's the fact that this isn't like your personal credit where you can rebuild your business credit. You can only leverage your business's assets against your lack of positive credit and then extend your credit history, but it's not necessarily going to improve your credit score with Dun and Bradstreet. People don't know that. Now, when it comes to credit utilization, you guys are also in real estate. This is another one that's going to hit you with credit utilization. I know that they say max out all your credit cards, buy the property, get the loan, and then pay back your credit card. If you close out a billing cycle with 99% of your credit card maxed out, then that makes you a high risk client. Not saying that if you charge 99% of your credit at the beginning of the month and 3 weeks later you paid it off, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the end of your billing cycle is at 99% of credit utilization. That considers you high risk. So you typically, it takes 3 to 5 business days for them to process a payment. And if your billing cycle ends on a weekend, they typically cut the billing cycle before the weekend. They don't always cut the billing cycle after the weekend. And if a holiday is on a Friday, they might cut your bill on a Thursday. So if your payment is due on Saturday, you don't want to wait until Saturday to make that payment. You want to make that payment on Monday so that by Thursday, it then cleared the bank so that when they cut the billing cycle on Thursday, come the following Monday, that payment is reflected on your current account. You might do better paying it the Friday before, just in case they cut the bill first thing Thursday morning. You would still have the payment clear the bank on Wednesday, so that when your last bank statement of the month show up on Thursday, knowing that Friday was a holiday and Saturday and Sunday is not going to be on that old billing statement, that come Monday, you've got a zero balance or 1%, maybe $50 or something like that still pending on the card, but not 99% of your utilization. That's something that you got to pay attention to. So this can indicate to lenders that you're not able to manage your debt responsibly, and a lack of credit history can also hurt your score. So as it makes it difficult for lenders to assess your credit worthiness, and of course, they are tax liens and bankruptcies, which can significantly lower your credit score and make it harder to get approved for loans or credit. When it comes down to bankruptcy, if you file business bankruptcy, you're basically liquidating that business. You're going to throw away that EIN and you're going to go pay $250, get you a new EIN and start you up a new business. If you, as a personal guarantor, do not dispose of your personal guarantor credit, any unsecured credit or credit that is exclusive to the business that gets liquidated with the business, all of that goes away. Your credit stays high. You can utilize your high credit score to establish a new line of credit as a personal guarantor, to establish new credit lines for a new business identity. And doing business as gives you the ability to have a business name and then do business as another name. So Trump can be Trump on every business that he starts up, but he would be doing business as Trump, even though each one of his names could be something different. It could be Carfax.com, it could be Equifax.com, it could be buymeariver.com, but doing business as Trump. And you would always see the Trump name on the front of the building. IRS is not really going to complain about that. They're going to recognize the EIN. They're going to recognize the income coming into the EIN. They're going to recognize the tax deductions under that EIN. They're going to recognize any money paid to the IRS as taxable income on that EIN, and then they're going to walk away from the situation. They're not going to say, nope, you can't use that name. IRS has never said that I can hear of, nope, you can't use that name. That name's already taken. It's up to you. If you want to be one of 32 different companies with the same name on it, that's you competing in a saturated pool. Now, let's dive deeper into this. Late payments. Late payments can be avoided by stepping up automatic payments. And stepping up on automatic payments is going to only work if you've got more money than you've got bills, which means that knowing how much money it is supposed to get paid and when is it supposed to get paid. One of the things that I typically do in business is I set up the automatic payments to occur on the fourth week of the month. Why do I set it up to occur on the fourth week of the month? Because most money comes in on the first of the month, which means I should be able to leave enough money in the account to cover all of the automatic bill pay before the first payment comes in between the 22nd and the 30th, which means that any mid-month payments that are being deposited on the 15th and any beginning of the month payments that are being deposited on the 1st would all be sitting there to cover any transactions that's going to come out of the account on the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. And that is how automatic payments are able to be compensated for, because if there isn't enough money in the account, the automatic payment is going to decline, and that's not going to help you anyway. Coordinating your billing cycle would also be something that I actually didn't put into this thing that I just thought about would actually be more effective. Instead of you spreading out your billing cycles where you have certain things at the beginning of the month and certain things at the middle of the month, yeah, it's pressure to have everything due on the same week. But if you got 3 weeks to get that money, you should have that money, or you shouldn't have that debt. And if all the bills are due on week 4, you've got from week 1 to week 3 to bring that money in, and it will be sitting in the account for 3 days before it starts coming out of the account. And that will help you with automatic bill pay. Then you could turn your brain off and say, well, I don't have to worry about it, because if I'm supposed to have $1,000 worth of automatic withdrawals out of the account and $50 worth of service fees coming out of the account, I've got $1,200 in the account. Everything above $1,200, I can take that and go spend it. And everything below that $1,200 sits there. Now, as the money starts coming out of the account, I should have a positive $50 in my account by the end of it. Then I start depositing money into the account from the transactions that I do. My account is always in a positive and never at a zero balance, because there are some bank accounts, while there must be a positive balance, it must be an actual positive balance. When there's no minimum balance, your balance can be at zero as long as it's not negative. But if it has to be at a positive balance, there has to be at least 1 cent in that account in order for the account to stay open. If the account has a $0 balance with no cents in it, it makes no sense for them to keep it open, which means that after a certain period of time, and some banks give you 30 days, some banks give you 2 weeks, after a certain period of time, they close that account. So to keep that from happening, you want to make sure that you have a little extra money floating around in that account, keeping it open. It doesn't have to be a lot, but once you start making more money than you're spending, it will be a lot. But you have to make sure that whatever your core overhead is, that sits in the account. The rest of the money, you can take it and go spend it. Now, you can also prioritize your debts by focusing on the most critical ones first, such as those with the highest interest rates or closest deadlines. And this is when you're dealing with consolidations. This is when you're dealing with paying off credit cards. But if you have credit cards, one of the things that you have to remember with credit cards is that they charge you interest on your transactions if your transactions existed more than 28 days. So if you put $1,000 transaction on your card and you pay it off, and you put another $1,000 transaction on your card and you pay that off, and you put another $1,000 transaction on your card and you pay that off, you do that 4 times. At the end of the month, you've made $4,000 worth of payments, where your minimum payment on that card would have been like $30. You understand? Now, if there's still $1,000 on there where you just charged some money on the card, odds are they didn't charge you interest on that because you just made the payment. You just made that transaction. It hasn't been 30 days. So you have a overpayment on your card, no interest being applied to your account, and you also have a little bit of credit utilization on your account because you didn't max out your card. You just still got some money there that is owed. That's going to show good payment. It's going to show high utilization, but it's also going to, well, it's not going to show high utilization because utilization is the debt versus the credit. So if you have 1,000 out of 10,000, that's 10%, which isn't a lot. But if you're revolving that 1,000 out very quickly, it's showing frequent usage, which actually shows that you're using the card a lot, which the credit card company is going to get paid from the merchant because you use the card. So everybody's gonna win in that particular scenario. But you have to make sure that if you have credit cards with higher interest rates, you want to pay those off before the cards with lower interest rates because you don't want to owe more unnecessary money than you have to. Likewise, anything that has an expiration date, you want to catch those expiration dates first, then catch the ones with the high interest rates, then catch the ones with the low interest rates, then catch the ones with the latest date. Again, if you move these bad boys around, where everything is one after the other, you should be able to make sure that each one of them gets got before it needs to. Advance payments, always a good way to go. If you have advanced payments, you are able to put what you need down, and then you're able to make sure that what you wanted to cover is already gone. Another thing, if you're dealing with service fees for a specific period of time and you got that capital, you get discounts for paying off the whole thing at one time instead of doing monthly payments. So instead of you prolonging the amount of money that you owe, you actually could wrap it up and say, look, I'll give you whatever, and that just zeroes out the whole thing. Now you don't have a lingering quantity of debt on your account for whatever that item is, which gives you lines of credit with those companies to finance something else from them if you're trying to finance more stuff from them. Because there's a lot of things like, for example, cell phone companies, they have a limit to how much equipment you can finance from them based on the amount of income that your company reports. So you might want to be able to get you a $2,000 cell phone with no money down, just pay the taxes and walk out the door. But if you've already got 5 different devices out and you still owe them $5,000 worth of money between those 5 different devices, they're not really going to give you another $2,000 device because you've got to return all of that equipment if you don't pay for the bill. And if you don't return all that equipment, now they got to come after you for $7,000 plus the past due balance of the bill. They're not going to let all that stuff go. You start looking like a liability when you max out the line of credit. Again, as we just mentioned, so you want to make sure that you go ahead and knock out all of whatever you owe. Another thing is they charge interest. So if you're financing your cell phone, you're paying that $25 or $30 a month, you're paying interest. The amount of money you're paying per month is more than what the phone was worth. And if you was to go ahead and just get rid of that, guess what? Paying on your installment plan has nothing to do with paying on your bill. So you could put $400 on your installment plan so that you don't owe them no money, but you still got to pay your phone bill that month. However, the following month, your phone bill is going to be less because the installment plan is going to be removed off of your account. So let's move on. High credit utilization, on the other hand, this can be managed by keeping your credit usage below 30% for each card or line of credit that you have. And it doesn't matter what level of card you have if you keep each one of them below 30%. If you keep each one of them below 10%, that's even better. But it's kind of hard to say. If you've got a $500 credit card, 10% is $50. But if you're keeping it below 30%, probably be around $150. Well, no, that's more like $50 out of, no, yeah, it's about $150 out of 500 would be approximately 30%. And that is a lot more reasonable. But if you have smaller credit cards, you want to have your smaller credit cards at, $10, $50, something like that. And your larger $5,000 and $10,000 credit cards, you would have those at 10% or 30%. And the more lines of credit you have, the more you can spread your debt across each one of those credit cards, where you might have $100,000 worth of credit or $200,000 worth of credit and $10,000 worth of debt across all of those cards, where each one of those cards is less than 10%. That gives you a higher credit score, because it gives you lower utilization, where your debt versus your credit is off center. Now, there's another thing that happens with businesses, is that businesses are not always felt by their credit. They're also judged by their income. There's a thing called working capital loans and working capital credit lines, where the amount of money that you bring in every month determines how much money they're willing to lend you. We're going to get into that in a moment. But remember, high balances on business credit cards can indicate over-reliance on credits, which lenders view unfavorable. Nevertheless, a lot of businesses try to put all of their debt on their business credit cards. It's the thing to do, as long as you're making those payments and paying it down quickly. It's not the thing to do to have 99% of your debt on your business credit card and you're making the minimum payments on the credit card. Typically, I was raised on the idea that if you don't got it, don't spend it. So you should not be charging money on a credit card if you don't have the cash to pay for it. I also grew up with the mentality of, when I make payments on the credit card, my paycheck goes on the credit card, which actually keeps it from going over. We've got some guys popping in here giving us some shout outs. Bricko Mode. Yeah, I seen you. I had it off to the side. So I seen you as soon as you popped up. I was like, yeah, I was just in the thick of right at page 4 of 17. So, we're kind of going through a lot of the information here, because I did a lot of research on this last week, and I was going through it about the business credit. So you didn't miss out on much. Oh, I wanted to tell you. So remember when you slid me to 30 the other day, right? So guess what? YouTube took half of it. They got me, it took half of it. I was like, what? Man, that man gave me all that. You gonna give me a half? They ain't right. They ain't right. They treating us like a business now. That's a tax write-off, but they didn't hit me for half. They they split it down the middle. They said half of me and half of them. So each time you threw something at me, they took half of it. But I wanted to say one more time, I appreciate you throwing something down, because it definitely made me. Can I sing the lyrics? Why am I singing lyrics, bro? You gonna have to throw some stuff down today if you want me to start sitting over here trying to recite some lyrics to some, as long as they're appropriate lyrics. What is that, the Frozen lyrics that you're trying to get me to recite, man, while we're sitting over here talking about money? I know everybody got their price, and some people gotta pay. Y'all, he want me to sing these lyrics right here. He want me to sing these lyrics. I don't know what y'all talking about with these lyrics. You better go grab that Fortnite account and start throwing. Start throwing more stuff at me, because YouTube took half. So while he considering it, okay, it got to be the other way around, because good faith is, last time, everything that was appropriate, I was able to speak on. And the stuff that you put up there that wasn't appropriate, I wasn't able to speak on. And I also said that if you throw something out here, and I greatly appreciate that when you do, that if it's appropriate, I'll talk about it. So, that don't look like it's too inappropriate. So I could find myself going through that, but I'm gonna have to see some green and red and ching ching going on across the screen before something like that go down. But look, hey, it's between me and you. It's between me and you. You want me to watch Kai, but why am I watching Kai? I mean, which one is that? Because he's not Kakarot. Kai Sena, who is that? You got me doing sound bites on people. He got me doing sound bites on people while he's trying to figure this out. We were talking about how the lenders are going to be unreliable if they're looking at the fact that you have higher debt. And this is going to look like you are overextending yourself, which means that you're spending more money than what you got, almost like Kamala Harris. So he said, I should vote for Kai Cenat to be the Senate. Nah, that's all right. I'm okay with that. See, so one of the reasons why I wouldn't vote for Kai Cenat is because you know who he is. And the reason being is you got to think about this. The House and the Senate has about 500 people, 250 on each side, roughly, plus the person that sits in a big chair in the front that runs the Congress. There should be new people in Congress every 2 years, which means if you know their name, they've been there before. I should hear a whole bunch of people that don't it don't matter what it rhymes with. I should be hearing a whole bunch of names that I don't know, with folks that ain't never been there before, where we could get some change around this piece, because the people who've been there for the past 40 years has been running the country a certain way for the past 40 years, and we're just not gonna see anything different until we start seeing some fresh blood. And since there isn't really that much of a requirement to get in there, you just got to ask, and some people got to agree. I mean, really and truly, you should have more people running for Senate than you got people volunteering for jury duty, because it is a paid job. That, guess what? You'll be making a million or 1.6 million, not million, I'm sorry, 168,000 is what you would be making for 90 days worth of work as a senator working on a GDP. Like, they don't work all year. Like, you spend probably more time on a murder trial as a juror than what you spend as a Senate member working on the national debt, making decisions on the national debt. These bad boys don't work year round. They off half the year. They got more time off than teachers, but they're in there. They're in there like swimwear. You want me to say happy birthday to your other brother Dizon? Well, I mean, you had me say I think you had me say happy birthday to him last time, because you talk about some that was so your brother Dixon, and now you want Dizon. So Dixon and Dizon, you want me to say it's like two brothers. You want me to go happy birthday to both of those. But you didn't tell me happy birthday. My birthday was like 6 days ago. Yeah, that's right. I was up here on a podcast. We was we was, happy birthdays and all kinds of whatnots, and you weren't even here. That would have been a day where you should have been like, bam, I'm gonna throw you 50 because you working on your birthday. Because podcast is not easy. Don't sit over here and let nobody lie to you and try to make it seem like it's just some lazy person sitting in a chair not doing stuff. And oh, that's good. I got the happy part. That you misspelled the word though. You need to go back to English class and have your teacher teach you some spelling class, because that's not how you spell birthday. They're outlawing that other half. Coming soon. Well, we got like 45 more days before everybody on the rainbow is about to get kicked out the country. Y'all about to be sad. Y'all about to be sad. Now, anyway, back to the main topic. When it comes to building your credit history, you can start by opening a business credit card or taking out a small loan. It is not as easy as you think, because when you're trying to open up a business credit card and your business has no credit, you have to be a personal guarantor. If your business has good traction with certain companies, you can establish lines of credit with certain companies, and that line of credit will give you a credit score that will help you get a unsecured credit card. Now, the other way to do it is to take out small loans under the business name as the personal guarantor and then pay those loans off. When you do that, that aids your business in being successful. Now, as you make those regular payments, you are demonstrating your credit worthiness. And as long as you pay off any debt before or after. It has to be after 7 months. So if it's been out there for a few months, 7 months or more, and you pay it off, even if it had a longer period of time, it will reflect good on your credit score. But if you're getting a loan and you're paying it off within 30 days, it doesn't really help you. You pay it off within 6 months, it doesn't really help you. If it's more than 7 months, then it reflects good on your credit score. So your boy that was telling you, I know y'all seen him on TikTok, he was telling you that you could finance a car, and then he wants me to say happy birthday to his uncle. So happy birthday to your uncle. Uh your uncle is named Dixie. Well, why is your uncle named Dixie? You got a lot of guys in your family that all have somewhat of the same name, and that is it's strange because they're all spelled wrong. And they're all loaded names. So what's up with that? Why you got all these people up here with loaded names? And his last name, that is not even a real last name. You think I'm Mo from The Simpsons? You think I'm just gonna just start blurting out whatever you say? Like you could do some homework. Oh, we've got an AJ up in here. What's going on, AJ? Don't listen to this troll. Well, bro, sometimes he pays to be here. He ain't thrown nothing on the podcast as of yet, and his dad Joe has been on the podcast quite a few times. So big ups to Joe. We were talking about the late payments and the credit cards. Oh, he said, "Make me a mod, and I'll take take him to his mama's house." Oh, it's all right, man. It's all right. Because I talk about business and finance on the podcast. I talk about social interactions. I talk about relationship topics. I talk about how to make yourself successful by having a good network, including a good social group, including a good positive family around you. So if you don't have positive family members supporting you, you don't have positive friends supporting you, you just got to do away with them, because you're not going to make yourself financially successful if you're depending on people that are going to let you down. And you're going to depend on people that are going to encourage you to not succeed, or you're going to depend on people or invest in people that are going to redirect your finances away from your success. I tell people not to pay attention to those guys. He says that he has a small social group. Hey, I know, buddy. I know. I keep a small social group, and one of the reasons why I keep a small social group is because I do not need to be I do not need to be around a bunch of people that are just in benefiting from my efforts. That's the part that I'm like, no, I don't want to do that part. So because like MC Hammer with his entourage, where he was paying like $500,000 a month for his entourage to be there, all his friends and his homies and stuff, and then when he needed money to pay the IRS, ain't nobody had no money for him. I'm not gonna be that guy. Bricko Mo says, AJ, he knows me. I'm in the live stream every day. He knows I'm joking. I've donated heck money. Well, I can't say a heck for his age. He did throw up a lot. I think that was his allowance money. So it wasn't a heck of money, but it definitely was coming close to a World of Warcraft subscription. So he did throw some stuff out. He is playing around. I know he's playing around, but he's a regular. So he comes in, and then after he calms down some, then we actually he actually starts paying attention to what we're talking about, because we be talking about money. He says, I see people all around me in massive debt. Of course. people will leech once they know you're doing good. Oh yeah, I know. I've got a buddy of mine that as soon as he found out that I qualified for a payout, he was like, bro, let me get some money for an oil change. And I was rolling because I qualified for it because of Bricko Mode, but they didn't clear the bank yet. So he wasn't even supposed to know that the money was there. But because I was supposed to be partnering with them on the podcast, he was sitting over there looking at what was going on in the history. And I'm looking at him like, bro, that is that's disrespectful because you doing your own podcast somewhere else and you coming over here counting my dividends like you're entitled to some shit. And I felt disrespected on that because when you got fired off your job, you didn't go back to your job and start counting the money at the safe. So why are you coming back to my podcast counting the money on my podcast? That's disrespectful. If I'm gonna give you some money, I'm gonna give you some money. If I'm gonna give you some money because you're my homeboy, if I'm gonna give you some money because I got a business arrangement with you, then I'm gonna give you some money when I get the money. But I'm gonna tell you when I got the money. You don't find out that I got money and then come and ask me for it. That's disrespectful shit. Then found out a couple months later, his insurance covers his oil change. So why the fuck you over here asking me for a handout for the $40 for an oil change when your oil change is free? Why is you trying to fuck out of me, bro? I was sitting over here looking at him like, bro, like you think you slick, but I don't forget shit. There's a lot of stuff that I forget on this earth, but money is not one of them. There's a couple things that matter to me. It is what's going on with my family. I don't give a fuck about your birthday. I ain't gonna remember your birthday. Fuck that shit. It's not important. It's a waste of money if you expect me to spend money on you. But beyond that, are you alive? And do you need me to come rescue you? Outside of that, if you're okay, you don't need me to come and save you. I don't really care. So I'm not going to sit there and call you on your birthday and wish you a happy birthday. I'm not going to buy you stuff for Christmas. That's a waste of money. If I'm going to waste money on you, I might as well invest in a trust with your name on it and have that trust give you dividends if I'm going to do something for you. Instead of me wasting money on going and buy $100, $200 gifts for you every year, I could put $100, $200, $300, $500 into a trust and invest it into some stuff, and then that trust can eventually start paying you out some dividends where you always got extra money coming in instead of me just wasting money on bullshit that you're not going to use. Then the other thing that I focus on is the money, because I want to not only make sure that I got enough money to cover my bills, I want to make sure that I got enough money where I'm not suffering. I want to make sure that I'm making enough money so that if another COVID happens, that I don't have to worry about where my money's coming from. I also want to make sure that I have enough money to take a vacation. I also want to make sure that I have enough money to leave for my legacy. So if I got children, my children's got money when I'm gone. I want to make sure that I have assets left around so that people can benefit from the life that I live after I'm gone. So there's a lot of things that I focus on, but do I care about nitpicky bullshit? No, I don't. So when my homeboy comes up and told me that one time a couple months ago, oh, I was kind of thinking about, nah, bro, you do what you were supposed to do and we're going to work it out. Then me and him started ironing out the money for another bill because he made it seem like the bill was higher than what it was. And then when he sent me screenshots of the bill, I'm like, oh, so you tried to get me for all this extra amount. Now we got to talk, because technically you owe me almost $1,000 right now. So now we got to really talk. And that's one of the situations, which is why I say before that you don't really want to do business with your friends because it could ruin your friendship. But he's irresponsible. I got to teach him how to be responsible. So I'm not too mad at him, but I'm also telling him that you're being careless and your carelessness is costing me money. And I don't like that. He does make up for it after a while, but I just don't like that. Bricko Mo says, do you like Elon Musk's plan to repay America's debt? It doesn't affect me, bro. It doesn't affect. Okay, so if they're going to add more tariffs to the offshore trading, that is going to increase the cost of purchasing stuff from overseas, which means that after a while, the inflation is going to happen, and the poor people, the bottom 99%, those people are going to have to pay for the cost, because every business around the world offsets their expenses onto the customer. So while you think, oh, they're putting up that tariff, oh, they're going to make China pay for it, China's going to raise the price of the product, guess who's paying for it? The American citizens. The bottom 99% of Americans that are wasteful, the people that are making less than $100,000 a year, that spend every dollar they get every week, and when they don't pay their bills, and anything over their bills, they go and waste it on buying stupid stuff. The ones that be buying red bottom shoes when all it is a strip of Velcro on the bottom of your shoe, that's it. Them the ones that's going to be paying for that. That's not really fixing the deficit by doing something that's going to benefit the American people, because even though he changed the tax brackets, when the tax brackets do shift, the problem that you're going to have is that you're at a fixed rate 15%. Congratulations, you're not getting taxed as much. You're going to get more money. Well, you're going to get more money back on your paycheck every week, and you're going to have a smaller earned income credit back at the end of the year if you don't have to pay local, city, and state tax. But the problem is the cost of everything is going to be more because they're going to be taxing the other countries, and the other countries is going to offset that taxes onto the price of the product. And Americans do not say, I'm not going to buy that, it's too expensive. They pay the cost to feel like they are a boss. So if it is overpriced, they will pay it and then brag that they paid for an overpriced item, which is why Jordans can be almost $350 when a pair of shoes can be $40, so that they can say that they can afford a $350 shoe. The insanity behind these children that have 38 pairs of Jordans stapled on their wall like a freaking Foot Locker, where each one of those shoes is $250 to $300 a piece, where you know that there's like $10,000 worth of shoes on that wall that they didn't only wore once. And you think about how that $10,000 could have been invested where they're making $9,000 a profit every year off that $10,000. Instead, they got it sitting on their wall. They got money stapled up on their wall in their bedroom, no less. So it is only being advertised to the world when they're live streaming. But when they not live streaming, don't nobody even know that they wasted $10,000. But all that shows is that they wasted $10,000 on shoes. I'm not sitting over there looking at this dude with 38 pairs of Jordans on the screen. Oh, yo, that's dope. He got every pair of Jordans that they made. No. I'm sitting over there like, boy, you got more shoes on the wall than you got days in a week. And you ain't even going to wear all them damn shoes. I don't understand. I can buy 30 pairs of shoes and not spend $1,000. I can buy 30 pairs of shoes. I can buy 30 pairs of dress shoes and still look fresh and still be comfortable. And each one of them shoes will last me over a year and not spend $1,000. So why you got $250, $300 a shoe on your wall? 10 shoes is $2,500, $3,000. 30 shoes is over 10 grand once you start tacking taxes on it. Why? That's a car. You can sell all your shoes and go and buy yourself a used car. You can sell all your shoes right now and probably go and put 50% down on that $30,000 Tesla that drives itself. Wasteful with the money. Now, AJ says, my time. Your money has, my boss likes to say. I hear you. He says 95,000 per year here. Been buying clothes from Walmart for 20 years. I can't believe people paying $100 for a pair of jeans. He is not lying. Why is you paying so much money for clothes? You know, millionaires don't buy thousands of dollars worth of clothes on a regular basis. Broke folks spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on clothes to look rich. You'll see a poor man buy $10,000 worth of Louis Vuitton clothes just so that he's wearing Louis Vuitton clothes. But Donald Trump is wearing a standard suit that you could probably pick up for K&G's for $250. The whole damn suit. The shoes might be $50. Not to say that he couldn't got a pair of Doc Martens for $500, or he could have got him a pair of pair of loafers for $5,000. But the fact is that for a billionaire to spend $5,000 on a pair of shoes, he's not even paying 1% for his shoes. He's not even paying 1% for his outfit. Think of the mentality of the man, and I ain't trying to spend that much money. I'm not going to buy $1 million suit because I'm a billionaire. I might spend a couple $1,000, but shit, that's the taxes on the money I made. Which, if that's part of my job to buy this suit for work, that's a business outfit, which is work uniform, which is a tax deduction. So that $5,000 offsets the $5 million I just made. So yeah, I'll buy that $5,000 shoe because it's a tax write-off. For me, it's free. But for my business, it's a tax write-off because my business is going to buy me these shoes and these clothes so that I can represent my business. But for broke folk that live on their paycheck, they paycheck to paycheck, You got just enough money to put gas in your car one more time before you get paid. And everything else you want and need, you got to wait until your paycheck comes. Those people, you're not supposed to be spending $350 in one spot when your paycheck is $600. It don't matter if it's $600 a week or $600 every 2 weeks. You're not supposed to be spending half your paycheck in one sitting and then trying to stretch the rest of your paycheck to your next paycheck. When I was getting paid $15,000 to $20,000 a week, I was still sitting there with $4,000 to $5,000 still sitting in my bank account the next time I got paid. I didn't even spend all of it at one time. I was recycling money. So I'm sitting over here looking at the fact that why does the average person that does not make $5,000 in a month, the average person that does not make $2,500 a month without working 2 jobs, can find a way to spend more than half of the money on stuff that is not their basic bills? If you think about your habits, and I'm going to go over all of them. When you buy cigarettes at $5 to $10 a pack, and you buying a carton of cigarettes, is upward between $100 and $200 a carton. You start buying 4 cartons a month. That's $1,000. You wasted money. That's $12,000 a year on cigarettes. Those of you that go drinking, think about them cases of beer that you be buying. Them 18 packs of beer. You think, oh, I'm buying Busch Light. It's cheap, but it's still $25 a case. You buy 4 cases a day. That's $100 a day. You buy 5 sets of that a week. You spending $500 a week. That means you're spending $2,000 a month on beer, which means you're spending $24,000 a year on beer. Now, if your cigarettes cost you $12,000 a year and your beer costs you $2,500 a year or $25,000 a year, you're spending $35,000 or $37,000 on beer and smokes off of your $70,000 income, which means that if you quit smoking and drinking, you could take that $37,000 and you can invest that, and you can make money off of that. And at 10% interest, and that's low, 10% interest, you be making $3,500 a year worth of dividends on your investment, where you could waste that $3,500 a year if you wanted to, or you could keep reinvesting it. If you put it in places like Bitcoin, that's over 80% return right now. When you're throwing your $3,500 or $3,700 in there, you're looking at almost 50 grand in the following 12 months, where you're making more money off of the money that you invested than what you're making off of your regular job. Now you've got extra money for you to say, oh, I can start buying smokes, I can start buying drinks, because I've got extra money on top of extra money. But when you live in paycheck to paycheck, why are you wasting all your money on entertainment? Why are you wasting extra money on going to the club? Why are you wasting extra money on the gas to get to the club? Why are you wasting on extra money to park your car at the club? Why are you wasting extra money for VIP parking at the front door so that people can sit, spit, waste, drink, throw up on, fight on, and fall on your car, break your windshield up and stuff, and you're wasting all that extra money? Then you're going to give the bouncer $40 to put your car in a parking space. It's a fucking parking space, bro. I could park here for free when the sun is up. Why I got to pay you to park here at night? Because they're going to make it seem like it's a premium location. No, it's not. 3 blocks down the road is a premium location where I could park for free in a regular parking space. AJ says, just like people who go to the bar every day versus someone who buys in bulk at liquor stores. So many people are in situations where they're just worried about tomorrow, and that's it. Always think way ahead and plan. Well, you know what's funny about those people who self-medicate? You smoking and drinking and stressing about the fact that you broke, but you're not thinking about how much money you're wasting on smoking and drinking because you're stressing. Your excuse is that you don't have enough money to get by, but your results are, I'm going to take the money that's in my pocket and I'm going to spend that money on something to make me feel better about the fact that I don't have enough money to spend. Now, wouldn't you break the chain by not spending the money on something to drink and smoke and keep that money so that you can eventually have more money? Wouldn't that make more sense? I mean, I correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I feel like and subscribe, y'all, as y'all popping in. I feel like it makes no sense that if you don't have enough money to go around, that taking the last $20 in your pocket and going to buy food or drink or going to the club to woe ways me, drown out your sorrows, I feel like that doesn't make sense to me. They get stuck in a circle, like you said, never ending until they die. Oh, it gets worse because guess what they do? Because they didn't had a couple drinks, they've been able to swell their mind a little bit, and now they're gonna do the most detrimental thing that a person can do in panic. Go get a cash advance or a payday loan at 300 to 500% interest. Now they feel okay because they got extra money in their pocket, but now they're paying extra money to somebody else 3 times more than what they borrowed. Now they don't have enough money because they didn't have enough money before they borrowed the money. Now they owe this person and their monthly bills. I say all the time, you're not supposed to take a loan out for monthly reoccurring bills, because if you can't afford to pay the bill, you're still not going to be able to afford to pay the bill next month, but now you have an extra bill 3 times more than what you borrowed. You have $1,000 worth of monthly bills and you borrow $1,000 at 300% interest, you're going to be owing them $3,000. So now you're going to be making a monthly payment of probably $400 a month on this $3,000 that you owe them. And now your monthly payments go from $1,000 worth of bills to $1,400 worth of bills with no new rectification because you didn't bring in extra money. You just owe an extra person. I mean, if you're going to take out a cash advance or a payday loan, the smart move would be to pay something that is going to stop, like pay your insurance for the whole 6 months or some stuff. You know, you're taking it, throwing it down on the lights, gas, water, and car insurance, or not the car insurance, the lights, gas, water, the car note. That's a wasteful drop because you're not saying that I don't have to give you no more money for 6 months. So now I can redirect my attention to paying off the money that I just borrowed. If you're putting your money on reoccurring bills, if you got to borrow money from somebody else so that you can pay your landlord, you might as well start packing up your stuff to move out, because eventually you're not going to be able to afford to pay your landlord and the 5 people you borrowed money from, because you don't make enough money, but you still going to the bar, drinking because you're too broke to pay your bill, but your bar tab is $350. And you paid your bar tab though. You tipped the bartender $50 for giving you, because you're a regular. He might have slid you a couple of extra shots, which technically breaks even between the amount of money you tipped him and the amount of money the amount of free drinks he gave you. But you still ain't solved your problem. You ain't picked up an extra occupation. You ain't found another side hustle. You ain't took some of the extra money that you're wasting and reinvested it somewhere else so that you have more money making money for you. You just stuck and you accept it. And this is 99% of the population now. Some of us do it in different ways. Some of us find other ways to do it. Like I know somebody in the family that decided they lost their job. So because they're unemployed, they're going to take 2 trips out the country. Why? Why, if you're unemployed, is the time now for you to fly out of the country? Now is the time for you to consolidate all of your bills and take that money that it costs for you to fly out of the country, live in a hotel out of the country, pay extra money to eat out of the country, and then fly back into the country. You could have took all that money and consolidated all of your debt and then put your money into a better position so that when you get back on your feet with your new job, you're not struggling. I had to sip on the scissor real quick. These are the type of bad choices that lead me to say before that late payments can have devastating impacts on your business credit score. Late payments can have devastating impacts on your personal credit score. Late payments and non-payments and default payments will negatively impact your ability to borrow. It'll negatively impact your insurance. It'll negatively impact your investment power, meaning people are not going to invest in you because you owe too many people and you don't pay nobody back, which makes you a high risk, highly volatile, no reward scenario. Now, business credit scores often use a system called days beyond term to track payment history. So even paying just a couple of days late can result in negative marks on your credit report. So for example, let's say you forgot to make a payment on a business loan, and that single missed payment can drop your credit score by as much as 100 points. On a scale from 1 to 100, it's not going to drop your credit score by 100 points. But if it did, drop your score by a certain percentage of points. And if you're consistently making late payments, it can add up to a significant decrease in your credit score over time. Now, truth is, because the business credit is from 1 to 100, and there is no coming back off of that. When you drop a tier, you might get one negative mark on there, but you might get 30 different negative marks because you made 30 different negative payments. That means you're at a 70 now, which means you went from an A-rated business to a C-rated business. That's it. You're not and can you get back up there? No, but you can start up a side business and co-finance with a business that's still triple A rated. You can leverage your assets against your low credit score so that you can still get approved for those loans. But will your credit score ever go back up there? No. Will your personal credit can be rebuilt, because technically you're a walking stock option. So they bet against you anyway, which means that you can rebuild your credit score. You can rebuild the value of your stock, your social security number. But your business, no. No, your business is only going to be as successful as your business. Now, high credit utilization is also a major problem. So imagine if you had a business credit card with $10,000 limit in it, and you constantly using $9,000 of it. This tells the lender that you're not managing your debt well, and it can lead to a lower credit score. Now, that $9,000 is only going to hurt your credit score if you end the billing cycle with $9,000 out of $10,000 at the end of the billing cycle. If you bought $9,000 worth of stuff throughout that 30 days and paid it all off before the 30 days was off, or paid off 99% of it, where you only had like $9 left in the account, where the end of your billing cycle is $9 out of $10,000, that would not hurt your credit score. But if you end your billing cycle with $9,000 every month, it doesn't matter if you're doing on-time payments, that will definitely hurt your credit score. So this will tell the lenders that you are not managing your debt well, and that's why it's going to lead to your credit score going down. Lack of credit history is also one of the major issues. When you first start off a business, the personal guarantor is going to be going up against the individual, because as adults, we probably have 10, 15, 20 years worth of credit history. Somebody has to have a credibility in order for the company to get money, which is why you have to personally guarantor that the business that you are representing will pay back the loan. So they will strike against you if the business flops. Now, what you want to do is, as a personal guarantor, establish personal guarantor credit, then utilize the personal guarantor credit as leverage to get unsecured credit, and then only use the unsecured credit to make purchases against the business, not the secured credit, because the secured credit goes against your credit score. Another thing, a secured loan goes against your personal credit score. When you're using a personal guarantor loan, that goes against your personal credit score. So until you pay that loan off, they might call it a revolving line of business credit. But if you've got a $5,000 revolving line of business credit sitting on your credit score, it's just like a student loan. You've got a $5,000 line of debt sitting on your credit score with good standing payments, but it's still sitting on your credit score. So that negatively impacts your debt to credit as an individual person. Your business has credit utilization versus cash utilization. So the fact is that if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they could borrow against the money. They can put a lien on the business's assets, put a lien on the business's income. But the individual person, nah, you're about as good as your credit history. You're good as your word. So if you don't say nothing or do something that's worth remembering you as an honorable person, they're not going to really do business with you. So that's why, let's say something like you're a new business owner and you never take out a loan or a credit card before. Because you don't have a credit history, the lenders have no way of knowing whether you're responsible for borrowing or not. So they're going to ask you to have a co-signer. The co-signer is going to be the personal guarantor of you, even though you're trying to be the personal guarantor of your business. Somebody with good credit history is going to have to represent the loan in order for the lender to lend you some money. So when you apply for a credit card, the lender will typically do a hard inquiry, which usually hurts 1 to 3 points on your credit report, which can temporarily lower your score. Another critical factor is credit inquiries. which occurs when lenders check your credit score as part of loan application processes. And this is one of the things that people don't actually realize, that more often than not, when you're going to a place that's going to finance you regularly, what'll happen is that they will throw down 3 to 4 lending agents, where you might have a 5-point hit because they ran your credit against 3 to 5 different agents to find somebody to give you a low enough interest rate based on your financial background to meet the payment option that you claimed that you wanted. That's why when you go to a dealership, they ask you how much you want to pay. They don't tell you how much the car is and what amenities you're paying for. You have to literally ask them directly, what am I paying for? And can you take that off? So like anything that's not bolted down on the car that you don't need, like the $150 floor mats, I don't need those. Take them out. It ain't going to really help much, but I mean, why pay $150 for some floor mats when you can pay $20 at AutoZone for some floor mats? You know, let's be real. You can go get a pair of clear plastic ones from Walmart for like $10. Why am I paying $150 for some floor mats just because it's got the dealership logo on the floor mats? I don't really care. I am not looking at the floor, you know. That's my thought. But while these inquiries are normal and this is part of doing business, having too many of these can negatively impact your credit score. Typically, when somebody is panicking to get money, they borrow at a bunch of or attempt to borrow from a bunch of entities. So they'll have a bunch of credit pulls. You'll have 30 to 40 to 50 credit pulls because you're trying to find somebody to borrow. And that chips away at your credit score, which isn't good for you. It is better to have maybe one credit pull or one set of credit pulls every season or semi-annually. So once every 3 to 6 months, one time, they're going to pull your credit. That's it. And then you let it hang out for a while. It starts negative when it adds up. And it usually, from what I understand, somewhere around 20, it usually starts weighing you down. And you also have to think about it. It stays there for at least 1 or 2 years from the date that it was done. So if you're doing a 3-point hit twice a year, is 6 points every year. It'll be 12 points every 2 years, which is under the 20. And on the third year, the first year is falling off. So you're still averaging 12 points every 2 years. That's fine. When you start looking at 5 or 10 points in the summer and 10 or 15 points in the fall, and then you're looking at another 15 points in the spring, where you're looking at about 35 or 42 right now, it starts negatively impacting your credit score. So to avoid this, it's essential to only apply for credit when necessary. Do not use your credit for every little thing. Going to rent a wheel, you don't need a line of credit for that. Buy that up front. You know, opening up lines of credit at Walmart, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. You know, opening up lines of credit at furniture, kind of like Rent-A-King or something like that. If you don't have the money to buy it, don't rent it, because you only rent stuff you don't plan on keeping. You don't rent something that you like. Rent to own is designed to take extra money out of poor people because they rent it to you until you can't. So you're renting something used that somebody else has already used, and you're ultimately paying more than full price for it. And then if you can't afford to continue making the payments, you got to return it so that somebody else can rent the same used item, where they're making 3 to 5 times the value of the item until somebody actually pays off the total amount of the product that they're renting. But you could have just sat on that rented money and said, I'm going to do without it, and then I'm going to go and buy a brand new one, or use one at a reduced rate, cash up front, and not be forking over all of this other money and interest because I'm in possession of something that I don't already own. Think about that. You should also monitor your credit reports regularly, and you want to ensure that there are no errors or inaccurate information that could be hurting your score. Truth be told, one thing that I would tell you to do is to the freecreditreport.com. I think it's called annualcreditreport.com. One of those two ways that you can get in there and get all three of the credit agencies, because they're not bureaus, they're agencies. There's only one credit bureau. There's three credit agencies that just really messes with your public knowledge. And you can go in there and, first of all, ghost yourself. Every address that's not the current address that you want to be up under, you want to eliminate all of those. Typically, whatever address is on your driver's license or whatever address that you utilize to collect mail, like a post office box or whatever, should be the only address on your credit history. All the rest of that stuff, you want to just drop that off. You want to just delete everything. Then that helps you out, because if you've got stuff on your credit report that you misspelled address in your credit history, it's easier to dispute. Then you can go back and dispute everything that's not under the current address that you have, which means that they'll take it off, because if the debtor, the creditor, who bought the debt from somebody else, cannot connect the dots between the original lender and you, because your social security number does not have that information on it, then they can't paste stuff on your credit report, which means that your credit score would be safe. These are the things that we tend to try to make sure that we do, to make sure that it also lock your credit score. Because if you lock your credit score, people can't report on your credit. If you lock your credit score from the gate, so you just contact each one of the credit card companies and tell them, hey, lock up my stuff, and they'll lock it down. Now, if you want to unlock it so that you can use it for something, that takes planning. You're going to contact the three major credit bureaus and say, hey, for right now, I want you to unlock it. They're going to unlock it. After they unlock it, you got to wait a few days or a couple of weeks. And then once you sure you're unlocked, you go over there, you go do whatever you want to do with your credit score. And then after you do that, you lock it back. Then nobody can report onto your credit score without your knowledge or consent, because your stuff would be locked, or you could keep it locked. And then they would just have to look at the fact that you're operating as if you have no credit. And that's pretty much all you got going on. And they have to accept that. So you guys got to remember, carrying significant outstanding debts can negatively affect your business credit score, and lenders assess the total amount of debt compared to the business's revenue and assets. So the value of the properties that the company owns, the vehicles that the companies own, and the quantity of money per week, per month, per year that the company brings in versus the company's debt is how they determine the company's credit score and the company's ability to pay back debt. So a high debt to income ratio can raise red flags about a company's financial health. One of the biggest mistakes businesses make when it comes to their credit score is not separating their personal and business credit. This is one of the reasons why. It's because a lot of people are encouraged to go and grab themselves an LLC and then take all of your personal debt and wash it away with your business debt. It is possible to do if your business is making income to pay that debt. In those situations, if your business is making more money than it's got debt, and you start charging a business credit card to pay off personal debts, once the business credit card pays off the business credit card, or once the business pays off the business credit card, that debt is gone. That's one way to clear up your personal credit, because all of your personal credit will be effectively in the business debt. The problem with that is that until you pay off the business debt, the business has bad credit. So you want to make sure that you're not offsetting all of your personal debt onto your business credit. And this also can be disaster in the making, because, for example, if you're using your personal credit cards for the business expenses because you don't have enough money coming into the business to take care of things, it could lead to a mess of the credit reports. And if you're not paying your personal credit cards on time, then that could lead to negative impacts on your personal credit score. So how do you avoid making these mistakes? First of all, you want to make sure that all of your debt is going directly towards one stream of payment options. So if your business is paying for everything, let your business pay for everything. all the income that comes in goes directly towards whatever line of credit, whatever loan option, whatever happened to pay all the debt off. So if you want to take all of your credit and you want the business to own all of your personal credit, let the business own the personal credit, and then you make sure that you pay the personal credit through the business. Deposit money into the business bank account. As the founder and initial executive investor of the company, you could invest money into the company all the time and use it as a tax write-off. But it's a principle of the fact that you want to make sure that everything lines up with the business. Another thing, to keep your stuff separate. If you've got a personal cell phone and a business cell phone, the business cell phone should be registered to the business, not to you. You using the business cell phone to make personal calls is not the same as you having a personal cell phone under your personal name that the business pays for. You got a business, your business cell phone should be under the business name so that when the business credit card pays the phone company account address to the business, it's easy to throw bank statements at the IRS and say, look, this is what I spent my money on. They're able to say, okay, fair enough. Everything belongs to you and you're paying for it. How you skate the issue by charging it to your credit card. If you have a business credit card in your business name, your business income goes on the business credit card, and you show that you paid X number of dollars to your business credit card. Unless you're getting audited, they're not likely to go and look at the business credit card and say, well, what stuff did you buy with your business credit card? No, you paid off your business credit card with your business capital, all of your bills. If you've got property, even if it's leased property, if it's leased under the business name, when the business pays for the mortgage, there it goes. When the business pays for the lease, there it goes. Lights, gas, and water. You can register your business for the utility companies. Yeah, it negatively impacts your ability to go and get stimulus relief when they have natural disasters, because they're only going to give you financial compensation if your name is on the property's utility bills. But who really cares if you're the kind of person that's going to get a tax write-off on the fact that you paid your light bill? You're only going to get so much money out of this situation. And after that, you really got to earn some money. You're getting tax deductions so that you don't have to pay Uncle Sam. And now you're sitting over here saying, I want to sacrifice my tax deductions so that Uncle Sam can give me some free money. It is not free money. They took it out of your paycheck. They took it out of the stuff that you buy at the grocery store. They took it out of the money that you pay for tolls. They took it out of the money you pay for parking. They take it out of the money you pay to go to court. They take it out of the money that you buy stuff, sell stuff. They're taking it from you. When you register your vehicle with the car and shit, they're taking it from you. Just because they're giving it back doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. So if you can get a tax write-off on the fact that they're taking money from you, where you don't got to pay taxes on all the money that you're making, do that. A lot better. And then make it make sense on how you're making money. Because if you're making more money than you're spending, they don't really need to give you any money, because money needs to be given to the people who can't afford to pay for shit. Think about that. Another solution is to set up a business credit profile with a major credit reporting agency such as Dun & Bradstreet or Experian. You should do both Dun & Bradstreet and Experian, and this will help you establish a business credit history and keep your personal business credit separate. Your public records and legal issues, you want to make sure that, because these things do impact your business, any public records such as liens and judgments or bankruptcies can drastically lower your business's credit score. So you want to try to avoid those things, which is one of the reasons why you want to have one business that's an LLC that could potentially always be sitting in court, probate, and all this other stuff. And you have your holding company over here that actually borrows against the assets because that owns the assets. This one that's never filing bankruptcy, never having judgments against it, never having liens on it, that business is going to be more effective in borrowing money. The LLC that is going to be dealing with, and the difference between a lien against the assets like collateral versus a lien against the assets for non-payment is two different things, because you're talking about the lien for seizure because you didn't pay the debt on a secured loan or finance or advancement versus leveraging these assets on a good standing account. saying, hey, if I don't pay, you can have this much money. There's a difference between the two. Now, remember, details. The records indicate financial instability and can remain on your report for at least 7 to 10 years, especially bankruptcies. And this will continue to impact you for a long period of time because your car insurance is based on your credit score. Interest rates are higher if your credit score is lower. Mortgages based on your credit score. Interest is higher if your credit score is lower. Financing vehicles, interest is higher. So you're spending more money because your credit score is hurting, which spending more money could essentially hurt your pockets, which causes you to have late payments, which causes you to have an even lower credit score. It's a vicious cycle. So in order for you to fix that problem, you want to make sure that you're usually holding 3 to 10 times more than the amount of money that you're trying to spend, so that when you go and spend it, you're spending it up front. You're not really doing much financing anything. And when you're financing something as leverage against taxation, and then you're paying it off with the profits that you're making off of the leverage, where the amount of interest that you're paying is less than the amount of profit that you're making for the fact that you borrowed against the item instead of buying the item cash up front. The biggest mistakes businesses make that can drastically lower their credit score is not separating their personal business and credit from each other, where solo entrepreneurs will never realize the importance of this, but they will it's called coincide or consolidate. It's coincide. Co-mingle is what I got here. Their personal stuff with their business, because they're the only one there. You see S corporations, and they start putting all the stuff that they do for their kids and all the stuff they do for their girlfriends and their child support payments and whatever money that they can get. They start depositing and withdrawing money out of the business bank account like it's their own personal account, but they're not showing where the money is going. It makes it harder for you to be able to claim stuff on your taxes because you don't have a paper trail. You want to have a paper trail so that when somebody says, hey, what's your business been doing? The answer to that question should be business. So a single mistake, such as a late payment, is going to make it even harder for a sole proprietor to be successful because you're the only one in the company. So as I said before, you want to make sure that even in the toughest times that you keep your personal self separate from your business self. When you start trying to co-mingle things, you want to make sure that everything is registered under the business. So if you are hard up and you are sole proprietor and you're going to run the business out of your house, the business is supposed to be leased out to the property. Then or sublet to the property. Then you want to have all of the other assets registered to the business, except for the car, so that if the car gets into a crash, nobody can sue the business and take whatever money is left in the business. But everything else is supposed to be wrapped around the business: lights, water, phone bills, cable bill, internet service, all of that stuff under the business name. You're using it, you're benefiting from it, but make it all just the business name. If you're going to have your own personal stuff on one side of the fence and the business's stuff is going to be on the other side of the fence, you're not supposed to be crossing payments. So just register everything to the business and then put all the money into the business and then pay all the bills with the business. Then when the business starts making money and exceeding the quantity of stuff that has to be paid for every month, then you can decide whether or not you're going to invest the profits, or if you're going to pay yourself out a personal income. But remember, if your entire standard of living is part of the overhead of the business, what the hell are you paying for? All right. So this is why you want to make sure to incorporate your business, and this will limit personal liability. And that way you're not going to have to worry about somebody suing you personally because of stuff that your business is doing. Having an S corporation is cute, but you really want to have an LLC, and your LLC is supposed to be backed by a C corporation, where the C corporation owns the LLC, but the LLC is doing business for you. When you file taxes for the LLC, the tax credits work over onto your personal credit, where your W-2 stuff can be tax deducted from your business investments, but your C corporation, separate entity. And your C corporation can donate 10% to a nonprofit, And if you have access to a nonprofit, then you're donating 10% to yourself. So just think about these things. The lack of diverse credit accounts. This is going to be another thing that's going to be very impactful to people. A limited mix of credit types. Only having one type of business credit card can hinder your score. Also, um, not having a flexible quantity of bank accounts, having a variety of accounts such as vendor accounts, liens, lines of credits, and loans can improve your score by demonstrating responsible management of different types of debt. But just having one, like, oh, I got this one American Express card. Nah, that's not going to ride. You got to go get you a Home Depot account, a Walmart account, a Lowe's account, a Samsung account, uh, a Sam's Club account. You know, if you got Hertz, I know Hertz is supposed to be going out of business. They selling off all their cars, but you got a Hertz account. You know, you want to be able to show that you pay off all your debts, that you rotate stuff out. Uline is a good thing because even your personal, like garbage bags and garbage cans and all this other stuff with Uline is good to have because um, you can order it with Uline and that keeps a line of credit coming in from the business. Now, number 6, one of the things that you want to have is a business age and the business's size. Newer businesses, like less than a year to 2 years, is going to be struggling with lower scores simply due to their lack of established credit history. Lenders often prefer businesses that have been operating for several years, usually more than 2 years, sometimes as little as 5 years, as they are seen as more stable and reliable because businesses usually flop inside of the first 2 to 3 years. So if you're still around 5 years after you've been incorporated, 5 years after you've been established, you're more likely to be financially stable or at least getting in the direction of being financially stable after you've gone past the learning curve. Typically, people quit uh, whatever venture that they're going into when they have an issue with not knowing what they're doing wrong for too long. So if they're spending 6 months or a year trying to figure this out and they're not making enough money, they might give up on the idea and go somewhere else. I tried to start up a business, but it's okay. I'll just work for somebody because it's easier. And that mentality is the reason why a lot of businesses flop. Some, they just run out of money. They can't get any more money in. They can't run the business. They can't get the product. They can't perform the service, and they just have to stop because they're they still got to make money to live, and they don't have any friends or family members that's going to invest in them. So they don't have a way to maintain in order for them to become successful. This means that they got to throw in a towel. So inaccurate information, this is something that's always going to negatively impact the business. Error in your business's credit report can lead to inaccurate assessments of your credit worthiness. You want to make sure that your public records are up to date. So if your business exists and you move the business, you want to change the business location. If the business exists and you get you a virtual, because they got places that give you virtual offices, get you a virtual office. That way it exists online somewhere, but nobody knows where it is. That way when they Google it, it looks like it's a real business. It's not just like a garage in the back of the house somewhere. You know, your business looks like a real business, functions like a real business. Get everything mailed to the post office box. That way nobody goes to the real business to try to knock on the door and see what's going on, and then your mama walk outside. Who is this? You understand what I'm telling you? So regular monitoring of your business credit report for inaccurate details is very essential. Disputing the errors that occur promptly with the reporting agencies can help maintain a healthy score. Now, how to improve your business credit score? I told you earlier, you're not going to improve your credit score. You're just going to do collateral damage because your credit score, especially with Dun Bradstreet, it starts at 100 and goes down to 0. If you're at 100 and you lose a point, you're at 99. You're never going back up to 100. It's just going to be going. It's just downhill from here. That A rating or that triple A plus rating is your credit score from Dun and Bradstreet. And if you chip away at that, you got a B rating. That's because you're at like an 80%. And there's nothing you can do about that. You're at a B plus rating. That's because you're at like an 88%. You know what I'm saying? You hit a 79, you're at a C plus rating. You just got to deal with it. But understandably, you can still do business. You can still borrow against a stone with a C rating. You can still, C's make presidents, so C's make successful businesses. But you want to try to keep you an A rating because it gives you more borrowing power. You can borrow larger quantities of money with lower interest rates for longer periods of time. So Paying on time prevents you from having negative hits. You want to make sure that you always pay everything before it's due or when it's due to build positive history. Reduce credit utilization. You want to aim to pay down balance under at least 30% if you can't get it below 10%. You want to diversify credit accounts and establish various types of credit accounts to enhance your profits. And then you want to make sure that you're monitoring everything regularly and make sure that your relationship with your lenders are positive, because establishing good relationships with banks and lenders can improve your chances of securing favorable terms. So don't be a dick to the person that turns you down. You want to try to make sure that you're an asset to them. You want to make sure that they're benefiting from the ability to lend you money. And you want to also remember, I've told you this earlier in the show, don't borrow something. Don't borrow a large quantity of money and then pay it off in 30 days. That doesn't help you because they don't make any money off of the lend. You want to hold it for 7 months, make 7 on-time payments, 8 on-time payments, then pay the thing off. You could have had a 5-year loan. You could have been holding on. You could have borrowed $5,000 and made payments on it for like 8 months, then pay the whole thing off. Because you've made 8 payments, they didn't got the little bit of money off of that loan because you'd made your 8 payments worth on time, and now you'd paid that debt off. You take out another $5,000 loan or take out a $10,000 loan this time around. Now it's showing that every year you're paying off your debts. That's going to give you a more favorable credit history. It's not going to make your credit score go back up, but it's going to give you a more favorable credit history. The main point I want to drive home is that maintaining a healthy business credit profile is crucial for the success of your business. By avoiding late payments and keeping your credit score utilization low, like I continuously tell you guys, you are able to establish a strong credit history that will improve your credit score over time. And this is going to be for individuals that have not already been a charge-offs and the default stuff and bankruptcy and all this other stuff. The people who starting off their business and they're on the incline. This will help you guys. The people who are making mistakes, stop making mistakes, and your credit score will stop going down. And that's about the best you're going to get there. So remember, good business credit scores can open up doors and new opportunities, because if you can pay your debts, you can pay off an angel investor. You can pay off a venture capitalist. If you are able to borrow against a stone and people are making money back on interest, that opens doors for you to be able to be an investable company where people will start giving you working capital that you can utilize, as long as the profits are coming back to the people that gave you money to invest, which means that your company has to be in good financial standings for people to loan you money or invest in your company, where they're going to let you hold their money for an extended period of time as you pay them reasonable premiums on the money that you're holding. And this is going to be in addition to having favorable interest rates on debt, but and favorable term loans on debt, but you're also going to have a favorable investor interest, which is going to make it a little bit more easier for you to get off the ground. But remember, everything in life is a stair thing. It's not going to be a straight shot. You're not going to be on a steady incline. You're going to rise a little bit. You're going to plateau. You're going to rise a little bit. You're going to plateau. And each time you're going to come up a little bit more, but you just got to figure out how to get over that last hurdle. Once you figure out how to get over that last hurdle, you're golden. And you just got to keep staying on that incline. So understanding the factors that ruin your business credit score is crucial for maintaining financial health. And by securing favorable financing options, by managing payment histories and keeping debt low, I'm going to tell you this one last time now. Diversifying credit types and monitoring reports for your accuracy of business can protect the score of your business and enhance your overall financial standing. By understanding the common factors, the negativity of having a bad credit score will no longer be an issue with your business, which will stop causing you to have pitfalls in the success of your business. And you can improve your credit score over time and improve your business credit history over time, unlocking new personal opportunities in addition to new business opportunities, joint venture opportunities. Even if you're going to joint venture with yourself, if you've got 2 businesses that you control that are both financially in good standings, you can do a joint venture where 2 different companies are borrowing against a stone, where they will invest into both of those companies, where each company is reasonably liable for the same asset, for the same debt. But if each company is bringing in revenue, you've got twice as much assets leveraged against the loan, which makes you more appealing to the lender. And that's the whole thing. That's the reason why I'm preaching to the choir about this, is because you want to make sure that you are making yourself the most appealing to the lender or the investor. That way you got more money making money for you. And if you're making more money than you're paying them back, that is the cost of doing business. If you're paying your investors back 6% and you're making 8%, you're getting 2% interest. Doesn't matter. It's their money that's making the wheels turn. You still make a 2% profit. If the lender is charging you 14% and you're bringing back 18%, you're making a 4% profit. Doesn't matter. The lender's money is making the wheels turn. You still get a 4% profit. So make sure to share your thoughts in the comments below about what you've been thinking about with how to improve the business credit scores and what your challenges were when you were facing this. And also make sure that you guys remember that if you want to learn more about anything related to business, finance, credit, stocks, bonds, real estate, international business, world business, just make sure that you like and subscribe and hang around, because what we're going to continue to do is we're going to continue to be talking about this alongside gender inequality, race, not race, relationship, because social interactions and business relationships are really key factors in being successful. It's not just what you know, it's also who you know. So if you don't have the information, stick to this and that, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And if you got some questions, by all man, ask a straw man question during the show. I have no problem segueing and talking about it. Leave a straw man question into the comment section. I have no problem with talking about it, long as it's an appropriate question. Then you get you some new knowledge. We actually had some investors that were talking in the comment section a couple weeks ago that actually went out and found a lender, and now they're buying gold from a gold agent through the podcast. So you guys can find network, and that's one of the reasons why we also talk about keeping positive relationships, because if you are in a positive relationship, you don't look bad to the person that you're doing business with. Because if you cannot be respected by the people in your own house, how can you expect the people that you're doing business with to respect you? So you want to make sure that you have a very positive relationship at your house, so that the people at your house is respecting you, not only at your house, but in front of other people. Because if they're not respecting you in front of other people, if they're disrespecting you in front of other people, you don't have authority at your house. How do you have authority in business? So we talk about these things. If you don't have a good network at your house, if you don't have a good group of people that is boosting you up financially, boosting you up knowledge-wise, and building you up for success, then how can you expect people who don't know you to invest in you? If nobody around you think that you're worth investing in, how can you convince people who don't know you that you are worth investing in? This is why we have to improve our inner circles. This is why we have to improve the people that we do business with. This is why we have to improve the people that we socialize with. We do not want to have people that are weighing us down, that are hurting our image, because as people, we are here in 2024 going into 2025, we are walking businesses. We've always been walking businesses. We just never knew it. Now that you know it, as a walking business, you are always supposed to carry yourself to the highest level of self-respect, which means that all the people that do business with you, which is the people that socialize with you on a day-to-day basis, should hold you to respect. And if they're not holding you to respect, you should fire them from the friend position, fire them from the girlfriend position, hell, fire them from the family position. Because if they're going to make your business look bad, they're going to make you look bad. You don't want that. If you were working for a company and you made the company look bad and cost the company money, the company would let you go in a heartbeat. They're not going to keep you around for sentimental value. They would let you go. You have to have a better network around you, because if you don't have a better network around you, you're not going to make it. You will come to find out that certain business opportunities hinge on who you know. And if you're hanging around the wrong crowd, you're not going to make it. So with that being said, I want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe. I want to make sure that you guys join the membership. I put you guys up there. I remember to throw y'all in. So I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Did I put Bricko Mode in there? I don't see Bricko Mode in there. I'm gonna throw Bricko Mode in there after the show today. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the podcast. Thank y'all for showing me all the love today. Make sure that y'all check out some of the rest of the shows. We are live 7 nights a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. We typically start on time or a little bit after the top of the hour, but we're always here every day of the week. So if we haven't aired yet, you know we're about to air. So just double check. and look at the dates and times. Hit the notify me button. For those of you that are watching us on Twitch and TikTok, no, TikTok is blocked by the U.S. government right now. For those of you that are watching us on Twitch and Twitter, make sure that you guys hit the follow me button. You guys will get notified every time we go live. So keep in mind, we've got more knowledge for y'all because 2025 is about to be huge. It's going to be a big change for everybody. Notice that just like back in 2017, we had them black Nazi flags marching through that year. It was white and red flags marching through the city. Now, just as sure as the red team got back into office, now we've got that same Confederate shoe swastika style marching through the streets. I'm just telling y'all, we got a whole nother type of country we're about to have to deal with, and y'all need to be prepared for it. Y'all need to be prepared for it. So does it matter if Elon Musk brings the U.S. debt down to $3 million so that the U.S. dollar will be worth more in another country? Or does it matter that you can take that U.S. dollar and go to another country and buy more stocks and bonds over there and make more money in another country that is not being tracked by the U.S. government? Which one is more important to you? Is it more important to you to have a fresh outfit today so that you can make broke people that only like you because you pretend like it's something that you're not, to feel like you are somebody? Or do you prefer to have a bunch of people worship the ground that you walk on because you fund their existence because they run your businesses in another country? Gonna be honest with you, I prefer the latter. I would prefer for people to value me because I made them successful. I would prefer for people who are making me money to appreciate me because they're making money with me. I would prefer to get more money out of my investment than I put into my investment. So if you guys keep watching this podcast, you're going to be finding things every day of the week, something different on what to do and how to change the way you think and how to change the way you do business and how to change who you affiliate with so that you have a better opportunity to do business, so that you're not in a situation where you're always struggling. Because by the end of this 5-year term, come 2029, we should not be broke. Okay? Nah, I ain't telling you that I'm part of the red team. I'm telling you that with the way things are and the way that we can make ourselves successful, because guess what? If they block OnlyFans like he said he was going to do, bro, you are going to see a massive redirection of financial capital from the adult industry, which means that they're going to buy something to entertain themselves because they can't pay for it on the internet no more. And with that being said, what kind of business are you going to start up to take the money out the wasteful pockets of the people who don't want to be financially responsible? Because me, I'm going to make a millionaire out of myself. I'm going to make a multimillionaire out of myself. We're going to be sitting over here talking about some. Yeah, I remember back in them days when I didn't have. But today is not that day. Today is not that day. And one of the funniest things about it is that I've got a buddy right now that we both started something like this together, and I'm doing it. He's not. He touches base to see how well I'm getting along. But the fact is that as the wheels spin, what we both have to understand is that my success is not going to be shared because I'm in it by myself. And as I become that millionaire, he's going to be able to say, when I first started, he and I were on the same level. And now, years later, I've got a team of people and he's not on the team. And am I going to rehire people that got let go? No. Nobody circles back on me. It's not happening. I tell men this all the time. Just like I say, X's stay X's for a reason. Ex-employees stay ex-employees for a reason. Once they back out of the situation, whether they quit or you fired them, that is it. They were not there when the shit was hard. It makes absolutely no sense when things start getting good. Now that they see the fruits of your labor, now they want to come and stick their hand out to get some of the harvest. You wasn't here when the crops was growing. You wasn't here when the fields need to be tended to. Now you want to come after the fields have been tilled, and now that the harvest is in, now you want to sit here with your hand out like, oh, hold me down because I'm one of your homies. No, now is not the time. You should have been here when it was hard. And now that you wasn't here when it was hard, you cannot be here now that it is easy. Now that everything is fully established, now you need to figure out how to do what I did. And am I going to waste my time trying to give you the information now that you see how successful I can be? No, now I'm going to sell you my time because my time is valuable. Time is one of those non-renewable resources. So why will I continue to waste my time on individuals that did not value me or my time? This is why we have to change the type of people that we associate with. Because the only people that's going to talk to you should be people that's trying to put money in your pocket or redirect you to places where you can get legal compensation. And I said legal compensation now because I'm not talking about homeboys that know about this lick on the other side. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those folks that, oh, I know where you can do X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. And then after you pull that off, you sit in jail for 15 years. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who can show you, oh, yeah, Elon Musk is in the neighborhood and you can pass by him at a Subway and get into a business deal. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, they opened up. Bank of America is opening up investments, and if you show your business plan, they'll invest in your company and give you 0% interest for the first 3 years. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like if somebody find out that the niche that you're in has an opportunity that you miss, and they're letting you know about that, they're aiding you in your success. But if all they're doing is call every time they think you got money, they're sitting there with their hand out, bro, you got to cut them off. You got to cut them off because that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So, that's all I got for y'all tonight. I want to tell y'all I really appreciate y'all coming to the show. I'm going to tell y'all one more time because I got a few more people still popping in that we are live 7 nights a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. Make sure you check us out tomorrow night. We got a couple extra shows that I'm going to be setting up over the next couple days for next week. So you're going to start seeing a lot more new shows, and just take out some of the other stuff that we've been doing on the podcast. Make sure you go and pick up some of our merchandise. If you join a membership, there are discounts on some of our merchandise based on which store that you buy our merchandise from. And if you want to get any details on the merchandise before you pick up the merchandise to make sure that you're getting discounts as the membership, just reach out to me and let me know, and I'll let you know which ones to go to and which ones to grab. And you'll be able to get what you want to get. We got everything from clothes, hats, sweaters. It's going to be cold outside. We got hoodies, aprons because they need to be cooking and cleaning. And then, throw pillows, stuff for the dogs, stuff for the babies, a necklace for the girlfriend, whatever you guys want. I'm not going to tell you to not spend money on a podcast that's going to make sure that you're going to make money off of it, because it's going to be a financial investment for you to hang out with somebody who's going to give you stuff that a seminar would be charging you $3,500 for one sitting. You know them seminars that be, you come to the first one at the Howard Johnson Hotel for free. Then you're going to pay $200 for the prep class. Then you're going to pay $500 for the weekend excursion. And then you're going to sign up for the membership, where you're putting $1,250 down for the membership. And that's going to be an annual or semi-annual membership where you ultimately gave them people $5,000 to get the knowledge. You could have been paying as little as $3 a month for the knowledge from me. And that's the lowest membership we got. You can be paying as little as $3 a month for the knowledge from me. And some of y'all getting most of the knowledge from me for free. So, I mean, you could be throwing me $5 a month and say, I appreciate the fact that you didn't gave me some extra stuff. And you'll be saving so much money and getting so much more knowledge than what you're getting from some of the other podcasts that talk about business and finance, where they're giving you hypotheticals and they're not telling you exactly what to do to get there. They're telling you that you could be successful, but they're not telling you what to do to get there. I can find out details on step by step how to get it done. That way, when it does happen, you get there. And not only do you get there, I've already been there. So we're going to be there together. You don't have any motivational speakers that say, if you do it, I'm going to do it with you. If we're going down this path together, we're both going to be successful, and I'm going to be successful twice because I've already done this once before. You're not going to have people that tell you that. But on this and that, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we in this together. So with that being said, as I always say, we got some more people dropping in. You look classic. I'm old school. This is what I'm telling you. I'm old school. I'm a last of a dying breed. You understand? And the thing is, notice I'm not sitting here with all this lavish jewelry. I'm not looking like I'm a rapper, nothing like that. I don't have all this lavish stuff all over the place. I still got the internet messing up on me. I still got the internet messing up on me. We're going to get that internet fixed. But I tell you what, I come here, I'm plain. I'm average. I have a classic look because I like to look successful. I like to carry myself with respect, self-respect, self-dignity, and I encourage everybody to do the same thing. As a result, uh, I actually and one of the other things, because I wear a suit every time I leave my house. I wear a suit when I go take out the trash. I wear a suit when I go to the mailbox. I wear a suit when I go to get my oil change. I wear a suit to the grocery store. I wear a suit every time I leave my house. If I'm in a low-income neighborhood, the kids in a low-income neighborhood will see a man in a suit at least once when they see me leave my house. Everybody else look like they just rolled out of bed. But when they see me, I mean business 100% of the time, 365 days a year, 366 on a weekend, on a leap year. Now, thing is, though, you'll never catch me in a situation where I don't look like I'm ready for business. You'll never catch me in a situation where I don't look like I wasn't trying to get something done. And that actually shows, because just like you said, I look classic today. I'm fresh today. And this is old. These are 15-year-old outfits. I bought a whole bunch of suits when I first started college in 2010, 2009. And I still got all them suits. And I still wear all them suits. And the fact is that I know folks right now that they buy outfits in January that they can't wear in August. And I bought suits 15 years ago that I still wear today. Still fresh to death. Did not cost me $1,000 to get the suits. But I'm able to look fresh every day of the week. Not one day do I come to this podcast on with jeans and a t-shirt. Not one day do I come to this podcast on with a throwback jersey on, a little wife beater on, or nothing like that. Not one time do I come to this podcast looking like I'm ready for bed. And like that same mentality, I don't leave my house looking like I'm ready for bed. I leave my house looking like I'm ready to get stuff done. And I encourage everybody to do the same thing, because even when I wasn't paying attention and somebody was looking at me like, oh, he's fresh. He fresh. He old school fresh, nah? He old school fresh. He old school fresh. And some of y'all recognize the big man tie, because they don't do the big ties no more. They do the skinny ties. So it's hard to find you a wide brim tie. They got the narrow ties nowadays. So when you see one of these, you know that these big boy ties is from like 40 years ago. Old school. You understand? Old school classic, still looking fresh. 1979 shirt with the zipper pockets on it and stuff. That 70s show shirt. Come on now. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand. Y'all trying to get name brand stuff, talking about it's stylish because it's in style right now. And I'm wearing clothes from before y'all was born, and it's still in style today. Why? Because it outlasts the test of time. So with that being said, ladies, I'm going to keep asking y'all, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, to please make it make sense, ladies. So make it make sense. I'm your host, Xander, for This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see y'all tomorrow.